Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are tackling a massive question that trips up so many leaders who are trying to get started with AI, and it's this. Do you build the perfect strategy first, or do you get your organization ready first? It sounds simple, but getting this wrong is a seriously costly mistake. So, let's dive in.
Okay, so right off the bat, you can see this huge disconnect. Almost 80% of companies are saying, yes, AI is a top priority for us. But look at this. Less than a quarter of them have actually checked if they're ready to do anything about it. This isn't just a gap on a chart. This is basically the perfect recipe for expensive failures.
And that gap leads us straight to this classic dilemma that just stumps so many businesses. Do you spend months mapping out the perfect visionary AI strategy? Or do you get your hands dirty and start building your capabilities, cleaning data, training people? The sequence here feels so important, and it's where so many people go wrong.
But here's the big reveal, the twist in the story. The question itself, it's the real problem. Thinking about this as one, then the other, is a total trap. It's a false choice, and it pretty much guarantees you'll end up on one of two very specific paths to failure.
And here they are, the two roads to ruin. On one side, you've got the strategy-first folks. They build these beautiful, elaborate plans that are completely impossible to execute. And on the other side, you have the readiness-first crowd, who build all this capability for problems that don't actually matter to the business. Let's break down each of these traps.
First up, let's talk about that strategy-first failure. The source material calls this building castles in the air. And honestly, that is the perfect way to describe what's about to happen. I mean, on paper, this looks so smart, right? You create this beautiful, multi-year strategy, you've got detailed roadmaps, fancy governance frameworks, you pick the projects with the absolute highest strategic value. But then it's time to actually build something, and that's when reality just comes crashing in. You find out the data you need doesn't exist, or it's a total mess, or your tech is from a different decade.
And get this, the price for this approach is steep. Organizations that spend more than 6 months just on strategy before they even bother to check if it's possible see a 40% higher failure rate on their pilot projects. And why? Because a strategy that isn't grounded in reality isn't a strategy at all. It's basically just expensive fan fiction.
This real-world story just says it all. You've got a retail company with this absolutely brilliant strategy for personalization and forecasting. The only problem? Their data was a complete disaster, scattered everywhere, and they didn't have enough of it to actually forecast anything. The fix would have taken 2 years of foundational work, so that perfect strategy, yep, it went right into a drawer, a total waste of time and money. All right, now let's flip the coin and look at the second way this goes wrong. Focusing on readiness without any real direction. This is like building a super strong foundation for a house that nobody ever asked for. So in this scenario, companies pour tons of money into getting AI ready. They're cleaning data, they're buying expensive platforms, they're creating these generic training programs. They're doing all the right things, but without any specific business problem in mind. And then, after all that money is spent, they finally turn to the business leaders and ask, okay, so what should we do now? And the result here is, if anything, even worse. A whopping 60% of companies that go down this path fail to deploy a single, meaningful AI solution within a year and a half. Think about that. They've spent all this cash, all this time on getting ready, but they have absolutely nothing to show for it when it comes to business value. I mean, just look at this cautionary tale. A financial firm was spending nearly $1 million a year to get AI ready. They had the data scientists, the platforms, the whole shebang. But when it came time to actually pick a problem to solve, leadership was completely deadlocked. The readiness they built wasn't really good for any one thing. So what happened? The frustrated data scientists quit, and that incredibly expensive platform just sat there, collecting digital dust. So if both of the obvious paths lead to failure, what on earth is the answer? Well, the solution is a completely new way of thinking. It's a model that avoids both of these traps by weaving strategy and readiness together into this powerful, continuous loop. It's called iterative alignment.
Okay, the big idea here is that strategy and readiness are not two separate steps you do in order. Nope, they're part of a constant feedback loop. You start with a strategic idea, you immediately and quickly check if it's actually possible, and then you use what you find out from that reality check to make your strategy smarter. It's this dance between your big vision and what you can actually do right now. So that's the big idea. But how do you actually do it? Well, let's walk through the playbook. It's a simple 4-phase loop.
Just look at how fast and focused this process is. Phase 1. You define your why. What business problem are we actually trying to solve? This stops you from building those foundations for nothing. Then, in Phase 2, you immediately do a readiness check, but only for that specific goal. This stops you from building castles in the air. Instead of some 6-month-long strategy session that goes nowhere, you get real answers in just a few weeks, which lets you actually execute, learn, and build real momentum.
And this right here is the magic of Phase 3. It's where your big vision meets cold, hard reality. You don't just look at how valuable a project is in a vacuum. No, you map it against how ready you actually are and how long it's going to take. So looking at this, churn prediction is a no-brainer. It's high value, and you're pretty much ready to go. Demand forecasting, still high value, but you're 6 months away. This isn't just a spreadsheet. It's a tool for having honest conversations that stop you from chasing shiny objects your company simply can't deliver on today.
So as you can probably tell by now, this whole iterative approach isn't just about a new process or a new framework. It really is about a completely different mindset.
If you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this right here. The whole strategy or readiness first debate, it's the wrong conversation. The real answer is to stop thinking in a straight line and start thinking in a circle. Iterate, learn, refine your plan, and then do it all over again.
And that leaves us with one final critical question that you should ask yourself. Is your organization busy building perfect plans that sit in a drawer, or is it actually building momentum through small, smart, tangible wins? Because in the age of AI, the winners aren't going to be the ones with the best plans. They're going to be the ones who learn the fastest.